reports from elsewhere in the city.
Yeah, absolutely. And all this kind of leads me to think in the same way that this is probably one man. Goodness knows, I hope it is, and I hope actually he's killed himself, because that would be the best for everyone, I think, in these circumstances. Certainly, but the police will want to just check out that there's no one else involved, and that again, they'll be looking at any camera footage, any CCTV cameras, to see if there's other people involved in this. And of course, the good thing is if they have located the person they think is responsible, then they can start very quickly finding out who he is and work from that.
And of course, we've got the parallel of Nice, that it was one person in a truck originally, but then they linked up with other people, and they'll want to know what kind of support network, and indeed whether they should have maybe seen this individual on their radar a little earlier.
Absolutely, but we don't know, and we won't know for some time whether this person is Islamic-based terrorist or right-wing terrorist. All of them are terrorists. Let's get this straight.
Well, indeed,
and the impact is exactly the same, whichever way they go.
I don't know whether we can just pull up that footage of earlier, that we had this extraordinary footage filmed from a balcony, and what appears to be one of the gunmen there, with this exchange with, some pretty robust language. But part of the translation in this conversation, where the gunman says, "I'm German," and indicating that I grew up here in Hartz IV, i.e. the unemployment benefits of Germany area, i.e. that this is someone who has basically grown up in the city.
Yeah, terrorism comes in many forms, and it's not, we think about Islamic terrorism. We faced terrorism in all sorts of forms from different parts of the community for many years, and this could well be nothing to do with the Islamic side. This could actually be someone with a completely different agenda. But as we said, the results are very similar and devastating as well.
No, we had Munich establishing, I think, back in the new year that they warned the public that it was very likely to be a target. And we assume that much of what's happened tonight has been put into action on a well-rehearsed basis. I mean, the shutting down of the road network, the evacuation of the train station. It does appear to have gone pretty smoothly, apart from obviously the fact that we've lost these 8 lives in the shopping centre itself. Yeah,
I mean, it's a terrible thing to say, but if you have a terrorist attack and the casualty numbers are under 10, then you've been fairly lucky, because people with guns in large crowded places can actually be devastating and kill many people. So it's an awful thing to say, but actually 10 people, under 10 people, is almost they've been lucky.
Yeah, and you mentioned that the federal police are armed as a matter of course. I mean, does that make a difference in the way that the police can respond in terms of the speed of response in these things?
Well, it certainly allows the police officer that is able to confront the suspect to actually take them on. And this guy, it appears, was using a handgun. So police officers in their normal duties would have probably had something very similar to protect themselves. So it would have been an equal match. What we saw in the Charlie Hebdo attacks, of course, were police officers lightly armed with pistols actually taking on someone with a machine gun. And they're just not going to win that. They're going to lose that battle.
Chris Phillips, from the moment, thank you very much indeed. But let's just reflect, of course, the early reports coming in about 6 o'clock local time outside the McDonald's restaurant at this Olympic shopping mall. Martin Schmitz was one of those who witnessed the shooting. He spoke to Sky News a little earlier tonight.
Seen people that were running away from Stachus, as there was some kind of maybe misinformation right now that there would be also a shooting, which I've just heard from friends. They were crowding in a restaurant at the Viktualienmarkt because other people said there was a shooting nearby. Right now you hear the Katwan system is giving an alert for the Munich city. Police says people have to stay at home, avoid places, and the people who did it, or the guy who did it, is still not found, and buses and underground and S-Bahn system is closed right now, so everybody's stuck in the city while being very angry about things what happened here.
It's quite a shocking situation there, Martin, and
yeah,
we understand.
I was with the Oktoberfest thing 30 years ago, and a friend of mine died there. So it's the second big thing that happened here in Munich. See the alert again. a helicopter is just flying over us. So it's the second time the helicopter is coming. So but I don't think that you hear it.
Yeah, we can hear it, Martin. We can indeed. And as you say, a terrible thing for people in Munich to go through at the moment. And this is of course been going on now since what, a couple of hours ago. It all started off.
6:30, something like this, and there was immediately people calling and asking whether everything was safe. Facebook just had opened this alert thing, so everybody can say he's in safety. So like in Nice, but much faster, I guess, than in Nice. It was maybe 20 minutes later, so you could go on Facebook and say you're in safe and not with a terrorist or whatever happened.
And this has happened, Martin, at a time on a Friday evening where you imagine that Munich will be a very busy place, people heading home from work, heading out to enjoy themselves.
Normally it's very crowded, but right now I see some cars driving and some police, some rescue cars are coming here. You hear them. This is police again.
We can, yes.
And many people walking now because no underground, nothing's working. System is closed.
Well, that was the live reaction from one of the witnesses to that shooting earlier. But of course, since then, we've had much said by the authorities, both in Munich and indeed here in London. The Foreign Office updating its advice to those Britons travelling to Germany or indeed already in Munich. Our senior political correspondent, Jason Farrell, joining us now in our Westminster studio. And of course, our new Foreign Secretary, Boris Johnson, issuing this statement a little earlier, Jason.
Yeah, that's right. He has been in the United States. Actually, he was discussing Daesh terrorism with his counterparts over there. And he's released a brief statement. He says, I'm shocked and appalled by the terrible attack unfolding this evening in Munich and the loss of life. My thoughts are with those injured and the families of those killed. We stand ready to assist our friends in Germany. Our travel advice to UK nationals in the area tonight is to stay indoors and to follow the advice of the local authorities. The Foreign Office themselves say they're investigating the incident and are in contact with the authorities in Germany. We've also had responses from the leaders of other parties. So Jeremy Corbyn saying it's shocking news from Munich. My thoughts are with the people of the city at this time. And Tim Farron from the Liberal Democrats also saying my thoughts and prayers with the people of Munich tonight. All of Britain stands with you. We haven't heard from the Prime Minister. Obviously, Theresa May was in Germany with Chancellor Merkel earlier this week, discussing issues such as Brexit. But at this stage, number 10, leaving it with the Foreign Office. Obviously, if they decide there are aspects of this that needs to be discussed or looked at in terms of UK security, then they will decide to hold a Cobra meeting. There's certainly no indication of that at this stage, and the fact that they are leaving it with the Foreign Office at this stage also seems to suggest to me that may not happen. But no doubt they are keeping across it. It is interesting, obviously, that this is happening in Munich. We don't yet know exactly the reasons behind it or the motivations. There's been a lot of political focus on Munich because of the migration there, the net migration into Germany of 1.2 million refugees coming across, and 25,000 of those actually staying in Munich, a lot of them going through, and Bavaria itself, 155,000 in that area. And that has led to, authorities say, an increase in far-right extremism. They know there are about 12,000 violent far-right extremists in the country. They have seen violent extremist crime go up 40% in the last year. And that is obviously one aspect of this that will be looked at, no doubt, over the days coming.
Angela Merkel's chief of staff basically saying that they're looking at every kind of possibility. And I guess one of the key elements of that will be to see if there's any kind of involvement across the rest of Europe.
Obviously, with this ongoing and the possibility that this is a plot.
Jason, we'll have to leave it there, sorry, but obviously we'll update people now at the top of the hour, the latest. Confirmation, 9 dead in Munich. Because this is the breaking news tonight that police in Munich have said in the past few minutes at least 9 people have died in that suspected terrorist attack in Munich.